Hi, welcome to Hot Takes. This is Kyle with Music is a Verb, and in my last video, I listened to Dynamite by BTS. In that video, I developed a list of qualities that I thought that song had, and then I made a track using all of those qualities. Today, I'm going to take a look at that track, and I'm going to show you how I layered all of the different musical elements to create something that sounds like Dynamite. Let's take a look. Alright, so on my screen here you can see the session that I created for Dynamite. This is in Logic Pro. Unlike other tracks that I've made, the order that I layered these elements is actually really important. And the reason why is that each thing that I added really affected the next thing to come. Not only in terms of the part that I played, but especially in the timing. One of the first things I noticed in the Dynamite track in my last video is that this song grooves, and it grooves really hard. It creates a lot of space in between the drums, and then a lot of playing happens in between those spaces, pushing and pulling to make the beat either push forward or drag behind. So the very first thing I did in this track was create the simplest possible groove. And the way that I did that was layering a kick drum, 4 on the floor. Just right on the beat, every single beat, 4 on the floor. Here's 2 kick drums layered to give us our basic groove. Or I should say it's not much of a groove yet, but it gives us that beat. Sitting there, not changing. We're gonna play with all the timing in between that beat. I then added a clap on 2 and 4 to create the basic groove that we have for the song. Sounds like this. Doesn't get simpler than this, right? You could write 1,000 songs over the top of this. I noticed in the song that even the claps felt a little dragged behind the beat. So instead of taking the claps and moving them to just behind the beat, to just after the beat hits, I used a sample that already had that in it. So I'm gonna zoom into these next claps that I layered in. And if I zoom in really close, you can see that the clap, I'm going to stop it here for a second. You can see that the clap doesn't start right away here. In fact, the clap comes in kind of a little here and then big right here. This is because these are samples of a big group actually clapping. So not everyone hits right on the same time, right on the beat. So what you wind up with is this little precursor of somebody clapping right on the beat on top of it, and then someone else comes in and then the rest of it goes and that sample, if I put it right on the beat, drags behind the beat a little bit when I add it in. One more thing to note before I add this in and you hear what it sounds like is that these samples are the exact same, and I took them, I pitched one up a little, I pitched one down a little, and I panned them left and right. So you actually hear them in each side of your headphones or each side of your speakers going on each 2 and 4. So let me go back up so we can kind of see everything. I'll just do that. And I'm going to add in the left clap and the right clap. Notice specifically how it falls behind the beat. Doom, gloom, doom, gloom. It makes the beat feel heavy and fall back. Here we go. We already have that little bit of drag, and we're going to start to really play with that. Now, you would normally think that the next thing I would add would be the hi-hat to fill in the groove, but I didn't, and there's a reason why. I had a mission on this track to not quantize anything. Now, quantizing something is where you align it to the grid inside your program so that everything lines up exactly. Well, you can see from those claps that things already aren't lined up exactly, and I wanted to keep that going by not doing it with any other instrument. I wanted everything to feel like it was just sitting right and had a human feel to it. So the next thing I decided to do was add the piano. Take a listen to how that piano sounds with the kick and clap. Goes 3, 6, 2, 5, 3, 6, 2, 5, 1. And again, I played this all so it just sits in the groove and it doesn't line everything up mechanically to the beat. I added on top of that piano a bunch of synth layers. They're all traditional 80s synth. I'm going to let you hear them one by one right now. So here's one 80s synth that I layered in. Here's the next one. Really thick pad. Here's the next one I added in. Kind of classic 80s pad. When I take them all and play them together, we get something that sounds like this. And I'm using the same MIDI that I had from my piano performance to make sure that those, even though they don't line up perfectly to the grid, they all line up perfectly with one another. When I add the piano in, we get this. A little more attack, but we get a lot of that synth still there. With the groove. Here it falls just behind. Starts to feel really good. Alright, the next thing that had to be added was the bass, and there is such a groove and bass in this song. I am not the greatest bass player in the entire world, but I did my best to follow these chords and create something that grooved with a little bit of fill in between. Take a look. Bass guitar comes now. Do you hear my fill? Let's try it one more time. Fill. Fill. And just following those chords. Now, I played the bass after, again, so that it could kind of match the groove of the piano. I didn't want it to sit right on top of the beat like that. The next thing that felt like it had to get added to the mix here was a guitar. They have this great funk guitar, like a single note guitar line. And I just plugged right in and started chunking away at it until it felt good to me. With the guitar, it sounds like this. I'll add it in. And that keeps going. Then I leave a little space at the end here for a fill that'll go into the chorus. Alright. After that, this is pretty atypical, but I then added the hi-hat. Normally, I would add the hi-hat along with the rest of the drum elements in the track, but this time I decided to wait till I had played everything else because I played them all live, and then I played the hi-hat along with the rest of the track to make sure that it felt good and it stayed in line with everything else that I had been playing. If I just quantized a hi-hat perfectly to the grid, it would really throw off the rest of the elements. They would feel like they didn't line up. But if I play it after, I know I can just feel it and let it go. Here it is with the hi-hat getting added in. Here's the whole thing. 8th note hi-hat now. I left a little space at the end here for a fill, like I said, and then I added a big impact crash at the beginning. Here's that crash now. And these are all the elements for the first part. I only added one more for the chorus section. Let's talk about what's about to happen right here. Drum fill. Alright, so to get that effect, I'll show you what I did. If I zoom in, I had a drum fill that I played with this program called Battery. And then I added a clap, the same clap that I was using before, but with a lot of reverb so that it extends itself out into the impact of the next chorus coming in. So take a listen to that section coming in right here and watch for that drum fill and reverb clap. Here. And then we're into the next section. It feels good. So I wanted this section to feel a little different, and the way that I made it feel different was by adding a horn line. Again, I didn't line any of these up or quantize them inside my program. I just played them right on my keyboard and let them feel good with the rest of the track. When I added in the horns, it sounds like this. Again. So the thing that I really strived for in this track and was shooting for is, again, that live feel. That here's this drum, this kick drum that's never gonna relent. It's gonna keep us on groove. But if we play with that, we can make things feel really good and really human and groove in between all of those beats. And I think that really creates this fun, groovy feeling to the track. If I take us all the way back to the beginning, we can take a listen to how everything comes in. All right, here it is from the very beginning, a nice big crash, and it starts right away. Same thing happens here, where we're gonna get that drum fill at the end. Horns. And again, some big soaring vocals over this, and we'd have a track. And an end. You throw a sensational boy band singing over the top of this, and I think we have a track. The vocals and the songwriting are really what takes something like this and elevate it to that next level. So if you write a great song over this, I think that you've got all of the elements there to have a really successful track. So that's my track using all of the musical elements of Dynamite. How'd I do? Let me know in the comments. Please remember to like and subscribe to the channel, and I'll see you soon.